Hi all, this is Sudhakar. Welcome to my troubleshooting and debugging channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how you can use GitHub Actions for deploying a infrastructure into AWS by using Terraform. What is GitHub Actions first of all? Ideally, when you have written some code and you want to perform any CI/CD operations, first thing which comes into your mind is a Jenkins. So you will create a Jenkins pipeline, and when someone push the code into when some developer push the code into a repository, you want to you want to kick out the Jenkins pipeline, and it will deploy the code into a target machine or target environment. That is what you do. But when you already have a provision in GitHub, let's say your repository is a GitHub repository, and you have chosen the GitHub as your version control system, and you are already storing the code, whatever the developer written, into a GitHub. Why don't you use a GitHub Actions for performing the CI/CD operations? That's where I'm going to explain you how you can write a pipeline in GitHub Actions and how you can deploy a simple EC2 EC2 instance deployment into AWS environment by using Terraform. Here in this demo, we are going to perform two actions. First, we will write a local Terraform file for spinning up a new EC2 instance using Terraform. And we will port the Terraform code into a GitHub Actions, and we will see how GitHub Actions will create or destroy the instances. So these two actions we will see first. Without further delay, let's get started. So I will start writing a Terraform file. First of all, I wanted to create a empty repository. Let me go back to my web browser and let me log into my repository. And here is my GitHub account, and I'm click on new. And here, demo GitHub Actions Terraform. So I would name it like it. This is my repository name, and it's public. I'm not worrying about that much now. So create repository here. And this is my repository link. Let me copy the repository, open my Visual Studio Code, and here I'm going to clone the repository. Git clone, I think, yeah, git clone and the repository name. So I actually clone the repository into my local system. First, I will start writing a simple file called main.tf. And in main.tf, I want to write a Terraform code how to create an EC2 instance. Let me find out the steps how I can create an EC2 instance in Terraform. So I can simply browse for create EC2 instance in Terraform AWS. So here I will opt for a official Terraform documentation for creating an EC2 instance. So this is the official documentation, and here there is already a configuration example available. So in this particular demo, we are not focusing much on to how to create a Terraform code and all, but our major focus is on how you can write a GitHub action pipeline. So let me grab this content here, and I will directly use this one. So here you can see it's directly trying to get the AMI first. It's a flavor of Ubuntu, and by using that AMI, it is simply creating an EC2 instance. That would be all we are doing here. So we are not doing anything more. So let me copy the content and put it over here. So this is my main file, and let me try to execute this Terraform. So before you start this demo, make sure you have a Terraform installed in your local machine. So let me execute Terraform. So I have my Terraform already installed. So Terraform init. So first I need to do Terraform init so that Terraform will initialize all the required files. The directory has no Terraform configuration file, so it's pretty much problem. So, okay, the problem is I need to log in. I need to enter into a repository. So here is my repository, and let me run the Terraform init again. Terraform init. So basically it is trying to initialize the Terraform. Perfect. So Terraform is successfully initialized. and you can see it created Terraform temporary files and Terraform plan. Let me find out the plan for it. So even you also need to take care one more thing. So along with setting up Terraform, you also need to set up AWS credentials. So I already configured my AWS credentials in the current CLI. So I'm not going to touch anything right now in this demo. So you better take care of configuring the AWS credentials and installing the Terraform. Once you have that prerequisite done, so you can directly come here into the demo. And so I'm going to run the Terraform apply. So I ran the Terraform apply. Meanwhile, let me click on S. So you can see here it is creating the AWS instance with the name web. Let me go back to the browser and I will log in into my AWS account. And this is my AWS account. I think I was using Mumbai region. Let me switch to Mumbai region and let me find for EC2. So VPC ID is not specified. So seems I don't have any default VPC in the in the Mumbai region. So I will do one thing. I will reconfigure it, AWS. Try to change my region by using AWS configure option. So AWS configure, and here I'm not changing my user access key and secret key, but I'm going to change my region. So I have a default VPC in US East 1 and pretty much everything is fine. So let me run the apply again, Terraform apply. So it will prompt you for confirmation yes, and it started creating the instance. So let me go back to my AWS console. Let me change my region. So it's a US East 1, North Virginia region. And you can see here it's hello world. So it actually started creating the EC2 instance. Okay, seems apply is completed, one resource is created. So you can see my EC2 instance is created successfully. Now this is all we are doing in the Terraform side. So we're not going to touch anything more. Now let's see how you can run a pipeline in a GitHub Actions when you want to commit this file. So let's say let me commit this file first, git status. So I don't want to commit the Terraform state file and all. So let me add them into git ignore dot git ignore. So here I don't want to commit Terraform file dot Terraform files and Terraform tf state file start. So I don't want to commit these four files, git status, git add. I want to add my main file and also git ignore. Okay, it seems like this is not under the repository. That's why it didn't look up. ls-ltr ltra. So this file is now git status. So I have these files now. Yeah. So main.tf and dot git ignore file. These two files I'm committing. Git commit, my first commit. This is my first commit. And git push origin, my branch is main. So I committed my code into Git repository. So let me go back to my Git repository. And this is my code. So you can see we have committed our Terraform file here. Now in GitHub repository itself, there is an option called Actions. This is what exactly GitHub Actions. This GitHub Actions will provide a facility or an option where you can configure a pipeline. That means when someone commit your code into a particular repository, you want to trigger, you want to kick off this GitHub action plugin, or sorry, GitHub action pipeline. Or if someone create a pull request from one branch to one other branch, so when someone create a pull request to the specific target branch, you want to kick off the pipeline. So this way you can configure GitHub action, and GitHub action will perform a CI/CD pipeline for you. So here, when I click on these actions, you can see there are plenty of options already available by default, and he's suggesting a simple workflow. So our use case is Terraform. Basically, you want to deploy, or you want to execute a Terraform configuration or Terraform commands on a GitHub Actions. So set up Terraform CLI in your GitHub Actions workflow. That is what exactly we wanted to do. Let me click on configure here. And you can see this is the path it is trying to create a file. So you can see clearly here. It is going to create .github. Inside a .github, it is going to create a workflows folder. Inside a workflows folder, it is trying to create a terraform.aml file. So let us go ahead and create this file, but it seems like pretty much huge to understand for a beginners. So we don't want to use this file as it is, but we wanted to create the file by ourselves. So let's take this path as a reference and go back to your Visual Studio Code development environment. And here, what I will do, I will try to create a folder called the same folder which they are creating, .github. Inside the .github, so another folder called workflows. Inside the workflows, as he's suggesting, terraform.yml file. So here we are going to write our GitHub Actions pipeline. So let's go back to the repository and let's see what exactly he is doing here. So in order to use this configuration, basically in GitHub Actions, the pipeline is going to run on one agent that is called a runner. In GitHub Actions, we call it like a runner. In Jenkins, we call it like an agent. In runner, it could be any runner. So you can select a runner on which runner you want to execute your GitHub Action pipeline. So you can choose Ubuntu runner, you can choose the CentOS runner, you can choose, there are Docker runners. There are multiple options are available. We will talk about them in a bit. So when you run a pipeline, when you run a Terraform init or Terraform plan and Terraform apply on any of these runners, the problem here is the Terraform state file will be stored inside the runner, and that runner is a non-volatile. So you will not get that runner again. The runner will be created on demand. It will run your pipeline and it will be destroyed. So when the runner is destroyed, your Terraform state file also going to be deleted. So you will lost the track of the Terraform deployment. For that case, when you want to utilize the GitHub Actions pipeline or workflow, you must create a backend. Backend should be some different place. It should not be a local machine, basically. So what we will do, we will create a backend as a S3 bucket. So in order to configure an S3 bucket, let us see how you can configure a S3 backend bucket, backend Terraform. So here, if you see here, even in my local, when I execute the Terraform apply, you could have find that it is created a Terraform state file in my local. So this will work only inside local. If you want to execute the same Terraform code, so ideally in organizations, in this particular Terraform code, multiple developers will work. And if you execute on your local, the Terraform state file bound to your local machine. So that will not work for the other developer who is working on the same Terraform code for a different modules. So for that, you better need or better have a different common backend for Terraform state file. So let me go back to AWS console. And first of all, let me find how you can configure a Terraform backend as S3. So here there is a sample configuration. So let me copy this configuration. I will create one more file called backend.tf file. So this is my Terraform backend configuration. Here you need to configure a bucket name. So our bucket is GitHub Actions demo. So as this name is a unique, the bucket name should be unique. So I'm just giving some random name here. Let me copy the bucket name and I will go back to my AWS console and here go to S3. Here, once S3 bucket is S3 page is open, here click on create bucket. And here I will name the bucket name same as the bucket name which I configured in my backend. So the bucket name, and I'm leaving the configuration, remaining configuration as it is. Click on create bucket. So now the bucket name is created here, and the same name I configured. Here the key is nothing but on which name you want to store this particular state. So I'm just giving a name as GitHub actions demo.tf state. So this is the name I'm providing to that file. So yeah, that would be the configuration for backend. Let me re-initialize my Terraform here. See how exactly it will populate the output. Terraform init and Terraform plan. So basically, once you configure it, you need to reconfigure initialization. So Terraform init reconfigure and Terraform. Okay, I think there is a problem. So this file is again not inside the repository. That's why it is not picking up. Let me move the file into a repository. Now it is under the repository. So when I click this Terraform init, I was expecting it will throw some error or message. Yeah, similarly like this. So do you want to copy existing state to the new backend? Yes, because currently my state file is in my local, and if I want to run the same Terraform code in a GitHub action, it will not use the existing configuration. Instead, it will try to create a new Terraform file. But before we do that action, we want to migrate or copy our local Terraform state into S3 bucket so that when you run the same pipeline in GitHub action, it will pick up the same state file and it can understand if the instance is already created. So yes, I want to copy this file. Let me click on S. So successfully configured the backend. Now you can see successfully backend S3 is configured. Now let's go back to the S3 bucket and see if that file is created. Yeah. So here you can see GitHub-actions demo.tf file. This is the state file we have migrated now. Now we need to commit this file as well. So let me commit this file, git status. And before commit this file, so as we were writing our GitHub action pipeline workflow. So let's go back to the pipeline GitHub terraform.yaml file. And here, so we need to write our GitHub action pipeline. Now let's try with the name. So first of all, you need to configure the name. So you can take the existing here. You can take this as a reference as well if you want to write. So you can write this. So you can just copy this information name. The name is just Terraform on push branches main. So our current branch is main, right? So on push to the main branch, you want to execute this pipeline. That is what it meant. So I don't want to pull request right now. So this is the basic configuration I'm trying. On push branches is main. So what else is the configurations here? So yeah, here you can see the job is Terraform and runs on this so and so. And also there are multiple options. Let's copy each action step by step and understand each one separately. Now here, you, as you understand, this is on push to this branch, you want to run this trigger. And when which jobs you want to run. So that is where you need to configure under jobs. So you can have multiple jobs together to execute on a single pipeline. So you can have a Terraform, and you can have a some, let's say you have a Docker file where first of all you want to build a Docker image and push it to a central Docker repository. In a second job, you want to consume the Docker image to deploy into a Kubernetes cluster somewhere else. So that similarly, you can have multiple jobs together. So that's why we have a section called jobs. Inside jobs, you will configure we are configuring Terraform, just a name holder, Terraform, and the name. And here you see, so this is exactly the runner I was talking about. The runner is nothing but on which server you want to execute this pipeline. That is where here Ubuntu latest. So in a behind scenes, what is happening? GitHub Actions will download this Ubuntu latest Docker image, and on top of the Docker image, it will try to clone the repository. So that is exactly what is happening in that GitHub pipeline. Now let's go back to this configuration and see. So here you can see inside this Terraform job, so we are going to check out our repository. So let's copy this checkout option also. So under the Terraform job, I have a steps, and the first step would be my first step would be check out the repository. So check out the repository into GitHub Actions runner. So this is the configuration I need to provide. And the second option would be, let's go back here. So install the latest version of Terraform CLI and configure the CLI option. So this is something. So he is trying to set up the Terraform using Terraform Cloud, but currently we are not going to use Terraform Cloud, but instead we are directly going to use a runner itself, and by simply invoking Terraform CLI command, we are going to deploy a pipeline. Sorry, we are going to deploy a Terraform infrastructure into AWS. So before that, so I will write the init option directly. So let me copy the init option. Maybe this action may not work exactly for us. So I will show you how you need to tweak a little bit. So here we are trying to initialize the Terraform. So here let us specify another image uses, and here I want to use HashiCorp, and I have seen this image earlier, so that's why I'm directly putting up here. So GitHub Actions, Terraform GitHub Actions, and it is the direct master branch. So basically, Terraform GitHub Actions HashiCorp image, I'm going to use a master image, and inside that, I want to specify some options. It's a TF actions TF Actions version. So I want to specify which Terraform option or which Terraform version I want to utilize, because if you don't specify this option, it will always pick up the latest one. Maybe if you already have a Terraform configuration which is running on a older version, that may not be compatible with the latest Terraform version. So it is better always use the compatible version for your existing environment. So 0.14.3, and I want to specify GitHub Actions and subcommand. So the subcommand would be init. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to do init. So I'm not going to run the run command. Let me remove it. Instead, I'm going to use these options, and my Terraform actions current working directory. I need to specify this working dir. And here working directory is in the same location, same place where I have this file. and TF actions, comment. So I just wanted to comment through and arguments. So I need to pass some arguments. Let's say if you want to pass any arguments, like you want to specify which region you want to configure, or you want to configure which backend configuration. So we will come to this part later. So currently I'm not going to use any arguments. So here we are initializing the Terraform by using a different image than what it is mentioned in here. So we're not going to use it, but because this option is meant for Terraform Cloud, so we are not configuring any Terraform Cloud. That's why I changed this option. So once you configure this, so next one is Terraform plan. So let me add a section for Terraform plan as well. So Terraform plan, and I'm gonna use the same image as the previous one here also. I think it's a GitHub Actions. I'm sorry about that. Okay, GitHub Actions. So I'm gonna use the same configuration, but here I may need to change the sub command. So sub command in this case is a plan. So my sub command is plan. So Terraform init, Terraform plan. And the other section would be apply. So I want to configure apply as well. Here, the action is apply. Okay. So far we have configured uh, a simple GitHub action pipeline where on push on main branch, I want to run this pipeline, and the job would be the Terraform job, and which runs on Ubuntu latest platform. And my steps are, first I need to check out the repository, and I wanted to initialize my Terraform code, and I want to plan it, and then I wanted to apply. So here it is apply. So that's all. So let's commit this code. Okay, I think I forgot one more thing. So as you were able to connect from my local terminal to AWS, because I have configured my AWS credentials inside the terminal. So you need to tell in a GitHub action pipeline which credentials you need to pass, or which credentials the GitHub pipeline can use to connect from GitHub runner to AWS accounts. So that is where you need to provide AWS access key and secret key as part of environment variables. So let me add one more section here called environment variables. And here we need to configure AWS secrets. AWS secrets. Before you configure AWS secrets here, let's go back to GitHub console. And here you can see there is an option called settings. First, you need to store these credentials somewhere inside the repository in a secure manner. So we are not going to copy paste our credentials in the Git repository, which is highly vulnerable, and it is very easy to hack by some hackers. So I have a situation where uh, I have seen a situation, some people are trying to store the AWS credentials into GitHub repository, and they are not, those those secrets are pretty much active. So anyone who has access to, I mean, when you configure this repository as a public, anyone can find this repository, and they can grab your credentials, and by using these credentials they can spin off n number of instances, or they can do whatever that particular secret keys has permissions. So it is always best practice, do not put any AWS access key secret key inside the code. Now here, when you click on the settings, you come down to the security section. Here you can see secrets and variables. So click on here and click on actions. So here you can specify environment secrets or repository secrets. So I'm gonna use environment secrets and create new repository secret. Here I wanted to configure so a secret called something like AWS DevOps Access Key ID. Here I will paste my secret, click on add. And also let me create one more repository secret or manage environments. What is it? No. I think secrets only the right option. So actions, click on new repository secret, and I will name one more DevOps secret access key. And here I will configure my secret key. So let me put NA for now, but I will come back and I configure it. So I think the previous one is not configured because I did not specify the secret. So DevOps access key, and I'm just keeping it like a null. But in a behind scene, I will configure. You also better configure your credentials here. And so this is the repository secrets which I have added now. And now I need to use the same secrets inside my code. So let me copy this option in a environment section here. So I will configure AWS. So I better put them in caps letter. So AWS access key ID, and that is here you need to fetch from secrets. So secrets dot, and you paste that ID which you created. I'm sorry. So and the second one is AWS secret access key. And here you need to paste the secret access key ID. So let me go back to my AWS, sorry, GitHub console, copy this option and paste it here. So now you have configured access key and secret access key. So when the pipeline execute, it will fetch the access key and secret access key from these two environment variables, and it will try to connect to the AWS. I think we are pretty much done. Meanwhile, I will take a little pause and I will come back. So I will take a pause to configure my real access key and secret key. Okay, I'm back. So I have configured my access key and secret key in GitHub Actions secret section. So let me try to uh, push this code. So now you can see you have added a backend and also you have added your first GitHub Actions pipeline. So let me commit this code, git add, git commit, and you can hear GitHub Actions pipeline. Git push origin, it's my main branch. So let me push it to main. So let's go back to code, and you can see my GitHub workflow is created. So you can see here, so the file is committed. And if you have observed, there is a mark here. So some mark is popping up here, and you can see one in progress check. So we will see what it is actually, why it is showing like that. So that means you can see here a pipeline is already triggered. So go back to actions here and you can see the pipeline is triggered. So here our pipeline is triggered and it is failed. Let's see why it is failed. So our job is this one, and here it is failed because it is not able to find. So configure Terraform AWS provider, validating provider credentials, retrieving caller identity from operation str. So AWS region is required but was not found. So this is the mistake which we did. We need to provide AWS region as well. So it is failing to find out the region. So how you can configure the region. So let's find out how you can configure the region as well. So here, what I can do, so I will do one thing. What I can do, I can configure one more file called provider provider.tf, and this provider.tf, I will configure provider, it's AWS, and here I will specify the region. My region is US East 1, North Virginia region. So here I have configured my region. Now let me commit this file, git status, git add, git commit, and my commit is added provider file, git push origin main. So as when I push the code into main branch, so you should be able to see there is a pipeline trigger. So you can see here a pipeline got triggered because we triggered into a main, we committed the code into a main branch. So here you can see it is started the pipeline and it is trying to execute Terraform init. So you can see here it's a downloading Terraform 0.14.3, that is the version we specified. And you can also see successfully configured the backend S3, and Terraform has been successfully initialized now. And now it is executing Terraform plan. Here you can see it is successfully able to identify the previous plan. That's why it is showing no infra changes. And it is successfully able to identify our previously created instance. That means now the backend S3 successfully configured inside the GitHub Actions pipeline as well. And obviously the Terraform apply will not do anything else. So, and this is how the pipeline has been created and executed in GitHub Actions. Now, this is pretty much cool. So far we have successfully created our first GitHub action pipeline. Now, if you want to customize this pipeline by providing different options, let's say I want to specify in my EC2 instance, and here I want to specify a name of the instance via variables, or I want to specify which type of instance I wanted to configure. So how you can do that? So let me put the variable here, variable instance underscore type. So I don't want to hard code this value, but instead I want to pass this value. So in order to pass this value here, you can see var.instance type. So this is the configuration I'm setting up. And let me create one more file called variables.tf. So inside the variable.tf, I need to specify this variable so that Terraform will understand. So it's a variable. I'm not configuring any default value here. I'm just keeping it as an empty. But this value we will see how you can pass inside the pipeline, GitHub pipeline. Now this instance type you need to pass. So let's try to execute Terraform plan here, and we will see how it will work. Terraform plan. So you see here in interactively it is asking to provide instance type. But how you can do the same interactive output or interactive input in the GitHub Actions, right? So you cannot do that. But instead, what you can do here, you can provide var hyphen. So you can specify here what option or what value you can provide. So var equal to, my option is instance type. So instance type you can configure here. You can pass it as a variable. And here t earlier it is like T2 T3 small, I think. So now I will change it to T2 medium. That's all. So you are passing the variable to the plan in the command line. So let me execute this. And yeah, so now you can see it did not ask for input in an interactive mode. Instead, it has taken v2.medium as a variable, which we have passed. So here you can see the drift has been identified by Terraform, and now we are trying to switch T3.micro to T2 medium. That's exactly what it is doing. Now, in order to do the same task in a GitHub pipeline, how you can perform it. So how you can perform this option here, that's where the arguments comes into picture. So in this particular init section, and if you see, we are using this Terraform action version subcommand, right? So similarly, you can also pass the variables in this section by adding one more option called TF actions. Oh, sorry, it's arguments. So args, inside the args, you can pass -var, and here you can specify -var equal to the same thing, whatever you did there, you need to pass here. So instance type equal to t2 dot medium, t2 dot medium. So this is the configuration you need to do. I think you need to put this in double quote. So my -var equal to instance type variable and T2 medium. So that's all. So you need to add this line in plan and apply as well. Okay. One more thing here. You are trying to apply a Terraform, but if you see when you execute apply here, let me go back here. Let me try to run the apply command. I'm sorry about that. So here it's apply. Once you execute Terraform apply by passing this variable, it will ask you for confirmation, yes or no. But how you can do this in Terraform? So Terraform has an option called auto approve. So when you run this auto approve, it will automatically approve the execution. So you need to add this parameter in the apply command. So here, before you pass the variable, let's add auto approve so that it will not ask you for confirmation. So here you are passing -auto -approve and then variable instance type. Okay, that's all. So that's how you need to provide. And let's go ahead and commit the code. Let's check the status again. And you can see we have updated Terraform file. Let me see the difference. So here we are adding these arguments. And here also we are adding the argument, and we are changing the instance type hard coded to variable. That's all. So let me commit the file, git add, git commit, variable instance type. That is what I'm doing. Git push origin main. So I have committed my code. The pipeline should be auto triggered. Let's wait for some time here. So you should be able to see your job is triggered. And let's click on here. So pipeline started and it is trying to execute the plan again and then apply. So let's wait for some time. Okay, here you can see Terraform has been successfully initialized and the plan is successfully executed, and you can see instance type drift has been detected, and now Terraform apply is executing. So here you can see successfully applying Terraform configuration in this dot. So let's give it 2 minutes. So meanwhile, you can go back to AWS console and go to EC2 instance, EC2 section. So there you should be able to see the change. So basically what it is doing, because we are trying to change the instance type. When you are trying to change the instance type, what will happen? It will destroy the existing instance and it will try to create the new one. So you can see here, it's stopping. So in a backend, it is executing stop command first, and shortly it will try to create the new instance as well. So currently it's stopped. Let me refresh this page as well. So currently it is executing. Let me refresh this page. So you can see here, now it is instance state is in pending and instance type is T2 medium. So it started creating the new instance with our variable parameter, which is a T2 medium. Let's go back to the GitHub Actions, and Terraform apply is still running. You can see here how long it's been running. It's been running since 1 minute 45 seconds. So approximately it is taking 2 minutes to redeploy the instance. And yeah, that's all. So you can see here the plan is successfully executed. It is trying to modify and still modifying, and it took almost 1 minute 40 seconds to modify. And in 1 minute 41 seconds, it created a new instance. I think we have so far we have seen how you can configure a GitHub Actions pipeline and how you can configure secrets, and you can specify the runner, checkout, and Git init, Git plan, and Git apply actions as well. Now, one more section I wanted to show you here. Now, as far as you are executing only Terraform apply, let's say you want to delete the instance. Now, whatever the instance you deleted, you want to delete the instance in the GitHub Actions itself. So how you can do that? In order to delete the instance, basically here you need to add one more section, but you cannot change the code every time you want to perform apply or every time you want to destroy the setup. You no need to update the code every time. Instead, what you can do, you can specify what action you want to perform dynamically. That means you no need to hard code this option, or you can have a condition where when user has chosen apply action, then only you want to perform Terraform apply. When user perform, you want to destroy the setup. When he choose the destroy option, then you want to perform destroy option. So let's go ahead and add one more section here called Terraform destroy. So let me go here and add one more section. It's a Terraform destroy. So in this Terraform destroy, what I wanted to do, I want to destroy the configuration. So here, what I will do, destroy. Here is a destroy. Now you need to specify the input parameters. So how you can provide the input parameters here. In the on section, you need to add one more section called workflow. So you need to provide workflow dispatch. Inside workflow dispatch, you need to specify inputs. The input is for our input is you need to provide action, right? So which action you want to perform is a Terraform action. So just a name Terraform action, and the Terraform action type is a choice. It's a multiple choice. I mean, drop down, right? So you need to specify a choice, and you can specify a simple description. So select Terraform action, something like that. And inside the Terraform action, you need to specify what all actions I have. So what are all actions I can perform? So you can perform apply or you can perform destroy. These are the two actions Terraform supports. So, I mean, in order to create or destroy, so these are the two options from the Terraform. So you need to provide these two options now. And also you need to make sure this is a required option. So user must provide this option, then only he should be able to trigger the pipeline. So yeah, that would be the input parameter you need to specify. Once you specify this input parameter, now you need to specify, you need to have a check condition when this apply should execute and when this discharge should execute. So let's go back and add a condition here. If condition, if in case it's a in a double quote, GitHub dot events event dot inputs dot Terraform action. That is the parameter you have configured, right? So Terraform action. So github.event.inputs.terraform action equal to apply. When it is equal to apply, then only I want to execute apply command, apply section. Similarly, you need to add this section for the destroy, and I want to execute destroy only when user select destroy. Destroy. Sorry. Okay, so now you have added a condition. So Terraform apply will be executed when user select the apply option, and here destroy will be executed only when user select the destroy option. And also, you can, as you are already capturing the input from user, here you no need to hard code this. So you can modify this option as input Terraform action. So copy this option here, and here you can specify the input. Whatever the input user provide, you can use that input here. So GitHub action, GitHub event input Terraform action. So you can use this one. Here also you can replace. Okay, so I think we have configured enough parameters. So let's go ahead and commit the code. Before do that, let me do one more thing. Let me show you if in case I push the code into a different branch, how exactly the pipeline will execute. Let me show you that as well. So git status, you can see, let me copy this code. Let me check out a new branch called uh, test. So here I'm checking out into a new branch and git status, git add, git commit into new repo, and git push origin test. So now I have committed the code into a test branch. Now let's go back to GitHub and let's see if the pipeline has been triggered or not. So you can see here, the pipeline hasn't been triggered. That means when you push the code into a branch which is not specified in the GitHub action pipeline, so it will not trigger the pipeline. Now let's go back to our main branch. So let me check out main. So let me paste the content. I have copied the content already. Now you can see this is here. So git add, git commit. I will specify uh, destroy input added and git push origin main. Now I'm pushing into main branch, and you should be able to see the pipeline trigger. So here it is triggered, and here as now, if you remember, we have added this input as a required parameter, and we haven't specified any default action. So now, what do you think will happen, right? So here, let's see. Ideally, this one should not work, but let us see what will happen. Refreshing the state, and here you can see, as the option is not specified, we haven't specified any option, and you can see here, both the Terraform apply and Terraform destroy are skipped. That means our conditions did not met. We haven't provided any input. Now let's go back here. Let me go back one more step, and now you can see this workflow has a workflow dispatch event trigger. Because we have configured this workflow dispatch event, that's why now it is populating this option. Earlier, I haven't shown you, this option is not there. Now it is showing this option and with the input parameters. Now you can see, use the workflow from main branch and run workflow. I think no, not this one. So it should ask you for input parameter, basically. Let me see why it is not asking for input. Okay, my bad. I think it's inputs, not input. So inputs, add. commit, push. So it has is triggered the new one. Let me, yeah, now you can see this option is coming. So let me refresh the page again. I will wait till this stage is completed because we are handling with the Terraform. So you should be very careful with the Terraform state file. So once the Terraform is already executing, and if you try to execute under pipeline, there is a possibility that it will corrupt. So it is better give a minute. So now it is completed. Let me click here, and you can see select Terraform action. Now this is asking as an input. Now go back here. So again, there is a mistake, I think. What is that? Okay, here again, options. So S is missing. So let me commit this again. Push. So it actually did not start anything. Let me cancel workflow. Something went wrong. Let me go back here and let me run the pipeline. So here now you can see apply and destroy. Two options are coming. Let me select the apply first and run for workflow. So now it triggered the pipeline, and the pipeline should be. So what do you think it should execute? Because we have selected the apply option. So it should execute only apply section. It should not execute destroy section. So let us check whether it is working as expected. Okay, so init is completed. It is executing plan. Let us give a minute. So yeah, now you can see because we have choose an apply action. Now apply is executing. So let's wait for a couple of seconds and apply is completed. Now you can see the destroy option is skipped. So this mark is skip mark. Now let us go back again one more time. And now this time run the workflow with the destroy option. So destroy, run workflow. So this time apply should not be pick up, but it should destroy the instance. So pipeline has been started. You should, in a minute, it should come to destroy as well. So Terraform successfully initialized and it is executing plan. And now you can see Terraform apply got skipped. It did not execute, but Terraform destroy has started executing. Now you can see the command is destroy. So it is trying to destroy the instance. Let's go back to AWS console and let's try to refresh. And you can see it is shutting down the instance. That means the pipeline executed successfully and destroy option has been triggered, and it is trying to destroy the EC2 instance as well. I hope that's all for the session. Let me go back to the console or Visual Studio, and I will quickly rewind what we have done so far. So first of all, we have created a empty repository. Inside empty repository, we just place an EC2 instance creation Terraform code. It's a simple code. And after that, we have created our first GitHub Actions workflow. In GitHub Action workflow, you have specified on push which branch you want to run the pipeline. And also you have specified which job you need to execute. And inside the job, you have configured AWS environment credentials in the environment section. And also you have specified on which runner you want to execute. And also you have specified the checkout option. And you have specified Terraform init, Terraform plan, apply and destroy. And also you have configured a input option for a user to select whether he want to apply the configuration or destroy the configuration. And also you have configured backend as S3. and you have configured, we have successfully configured instance type as an environment variable, sorry, input variable, and how you can pass the variable in the steps, pipeline steps. Even in fact, you can also update, you can also add this T2 medium, the instance type also as a parameter, input parameter here. So you can add one more section called instance type. So instance I underscore type, and here you can specify type, and you can specify description, and also you can specify options. Let's say user want to select multiple options like a T2 medium or T3 small. So you can specify this action here. And once you specify this action, as you know already, so you need to use this instance type parameter here. So what you need to do, you need to write here GitHub dot event dot inputs dot instance type. So once you do this, you will need to select this instance type also in an option, and you can perform apply or destroy. So these are pretty much configurable options. I'm not going to do instance type right now, but this is just to give you a over idea how you can configure input parameters. I hope you all enjoy this session. I believe you have learned something new in this particular demo, and thank you so much. And we'll meet you again in the next session. Thank you.